Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and droids across our beloved Kyber Empire, as well as a big shout to those big boys that want to wield a darksaber. We're talking about our initial impressions of the one and only Paz Vizsla! Or as we like to call him the other day, Chad Vizsla. He is going to be the first into a new world with the light side Mandalorians leading up to the new epic confrontation, Bo-Katan Mandalore. But there's going to be a lot of work needed until the light side Mandalorians really get to see the full picture. However, I want to say in this video, as we're going to talk about this guy right here, he's an absolute unit. He's probably one of the best light side Mandalorians we have, but the rest of the team needs to up the ante. So I can tell you straight out the get-go with complete confidence, this is not right now a Zori, a Captain Rex, a Seer Junda, a Marin, list a variety of other characters that came out in 2023 where it's a one and done, it's supercharged, the faction. Paz Vizsla isn't going to be quite that, but I want to showcase what he's offering right now before we even get to that finish line with Bo-Katan Mandalore, because this guy is the ultimate one army character, and I had so much fun utilizing, even took him all the way to Relic 9. So let's kind of cover our bases here in this initial impressions, because that's all we can really give is initial impressions until we see the rest of the Mandalorians come to fruition, which I have plenty of feedback for what we need to get this Mandalorian light side faction moving in the right direction. Speaking of light side, I know I'm going to get a lot of questions. How is Paz Vizsla with the Mandalorian? I'm going to tell you right up, straight up, right here, right now, I probably wouldn't recommend Paz Vizsla with Maul. I didn't quite feel the impact out of him, mainly because it's it's just an obvious factual downgrade from the Maul with the Super Commando touch-up and Gar Saxon. The Maul Dark Side Mandalorians, they're locked in. They're solid. They don't need any more help. They're taking down Master Kenobi and other galactic legends. Paz Vizsla, through and through, is designed to be utilized with the light side Mandalorian. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. And I also want to talk about kind of Paz Vizsla in this one-man army, super soldier juggernaut type of situation. The light side Mandalorians, I'm going to just start with this. I'm going to give a comparison. A lot of us like the Bad Batch, right? Yeah, they've lost their edge, but it's been like, what, 2 years now at this point? But when they came out, when they started dropping Hunter and stuff, it's like, yeah, okay, they're all right. But we needed the full team to come together to finally see that Bad Batch. They were able to elevate that Bad Batch team to a whole new level, undermanning so many teams. I'm putting money down that I think this is what we're seeing of Paz Vizsla. He is kind of the first piece of the puzzle. We see what's good about him. And once we inevitably get more light side Mandalorians, and obviously when we ultimately park at epic confrontation Bo-Katan Mandalore, it's going to be a lot better. But as of now, the light side Mandalorians really aren't that great. I mean, we were struggling up against Geonosians, and that's when you're like, oh, no, that's not really good, unfortunately. But we could see the building blocks that were leading up to that point. Paz Vizsla, what he's bringing, he doesn't taunt nearly as much as I would like him, although as we're going to talk, we can kind of cheese it a little bit more and get him to taunt a lot more. He relies on a resilient defense to get him going, and as you know, resilient defense doesn't really stick around. But what we're noticing from this guy, the most prevalent thing is that that last stand mechanic, where when he's about to get killed off, he gets this awesome bonus turn where he's going to get max out his heat, max out his overheat, and he's just going to do like one more showdown. And he does some pretty solid damage for a tank. When he gets that bonus turn at the very end, he's getting that bonus offense. He's getting the damage immunity. He's able to lay down some pretty serious damage. There were a few clips, as we're going to see, I was able to get him to hit for like 200,000 damage, which was pretty substantial if you think about it. So he could really pop, and that's what I'm noticing. I think when we lead up to Bo-Katan Mandalore, we're going to see that when he finally does get taken out, he's probably going to hit really darn hard. And when I give my initial mod suggestions, it might be a bit weird now. It might change in the future, but loading this guy with offense is really a big deal. The second thing I really like is the Stalwart Barrage basic ability. And as you're going to see, we kind of lean into this when we go into the Super Soldier format for Paz Vizsla. Truthfully, whenever he finally gets enough stacks of heat on his basic ability, he's able to get that additional instance of true damage to target enemies. So he needs to get overheat. So it takes a little bit of time to get there. Not too long, but once he gets there, once he starts using his basic, you start kind of getting a little bit of that Super Commando touch-up where it's that true damage that makes a real big deal. And every time I see Paz use his basic, At times, I'm easily seeing him hit for like 50, 60, 70,000 combined damage. And that's when I started thinking, what if we just lean into this and just let him keep counterattacking, let him eat up a lot of hits? Because he does eat up a lot of hits. And we're talking about the damage side of things. He is a tank at the end of the day. And boy, is he going to be quite the beefy tank. With Legacy of House Vizsla, he's getting the extra defense, max health for each other Mandalorian ally, but he's getting more if they're light side Mandalorian allies. 50% max health, 15% defense for each one of them. And this makes him into a real beefy cake. So yes, I'm talking about the damage side of things, but truthfully, he really is quite a beefy tank, but we're just not appreciating it as much right now with the light side Mandalorians, because one, he doesn't taunt nearly as much as I think we would like him to. He's relying on resilient defense, but he doesn't get as much as Mace Windu. Doesn't get as much as Savage, which are the other prevalent members that get to use the resilient defense mechanic. So I think this is where we're going to see with Bo-Katan Mandalore, we might see some sort of mechanic, maybe how like Jedi Master Kenobi can make Galactic Republic tanks, taunt right away, and then Mace Windu just instantly gets resilient defense. We might see something like that, where Bo-Katan will make, I keep mixing pre-pass. Point aside, you would think they would add pre-Vizsla, pre-Paz Vizsla. All right, I'll see myself out the door. So that's kind of the few setbacks that I'm seeing of Paz Vizsla. He's not taunting as much as I would like him to until we get into that super soldier form, and I believe we might see a degree of this when we get to Bo-Katan Mandalore. Now, there are a couple other things throughout this kit that I do like as well that maybe they're more secondary. So far, we talked about his damage, pretty great for a tank. His durability, great for a tank. His basic, very good for a tank with the counterattack so that we can set up in the true damage. He's got these other abilities. When he does get destroyed and he's about to get that bonus turn, you want to use that Vengeful Incineration. This is where you can get massive amounts of damage. On his AoE ability, he gets the Expose, he gets the Stagger, he gets that Protection of Retribution, and he deals 30% more damage for each stack of Overheat. And when he's about to be defeated, he gets maximum stacks of Overheats. This is why we probably going to really lean into some weird modding for the foreseeable future until we see the ultimate light side Mandalorian team. But again, Vengeful Incineration does solid damage. And of course, there's Ancestral Broadside, which I really appreciate it, mainly just for the daze. The daze is pretty nice, and also helping Mandalorians recover 10% of Paz's max protection, which is pretty good. Again, he gets lots. He's a tank. And of course, if we go crazy balls to the wall, he's going to get tons of protection on the Relic 9. So this is going to also help him heal up the team a lot more. But what I really want to focus on for the rest of this video is the Super Soldier Paz Vizsla. Right now, I'm not seeing light side Mandalorians be a useful team at the moment. Let's wait for the next few characters. We might start seeing it. If you do want to use the light side Mandalorians, the Armorer seems to be the best lead because she gives bonus protection, kind of like a Bastila Shan lead. And with Paz Vizsla having crazy amounts of max health and protection being based off max health, he's going to get a ton of bonus protection from the armor. So that's the way I was using. We're going to show some territory battle footage. I guess before we talk about Super Soldier Paz Vizsla, the other setbacks are Beskar Armor Mando. We're kind of reminded why he's not a great journey character. He got lucky that Fennec Shan needed him for the Lord Vader counter. Otherwise, Beskar Mando he has a lot of weaknesses to him. I'm hoping there's going to be a touch-up, maybe a rework, or maybe they're going to just add a new Mando. Beskar Mando needs a lot more synergy with the Mandalorians. He just doesn't have any. He can't cleanse the team. He can't give damage to Mandalorians. What is he there for except just by tag, basically? He's kind of like almost an Asajj Ventress to the Separatists. Yeah, she's got the Separatist tag. Not really all that great with the Separatists. I'm kind of feeling that here. So there's going to be a couple setbacks with missing out a few more Mandalorians. And also, we need Beskar Mando to really become the Journey event character he's supposed to be. He's way below par compared to all the Lukes, the Revans that we have out there. So hopefully they do a little something for him. But in the meantime, I'm just putting this out there. This is completely unreasonable to do, but it just really shows how great Paz Vizsla is. The way I explained this on stream, imagine if Michael Jordan, LeBron, or Mahomes, or Tom Brady, imagine if they were on a team with a bunch of kindergartners, he wouldn't look that great. This is really showcasing that he is going to be the MVP in some degree to the future Mandalorian squad. When you do this Super Saiyan Juggernaut Super Soldier Paz Vizsla, where you give him the 3 stacks of armor from the armor, which, by the way, increases durability and gives him the counterattack, which allows us to do the true damage on the basics, so get it a lot more frequently when we give Wat Tambor tank tech over to Paz. So he cleanses. He's pretty much always taunting or resilient defensing, I guess is the better way of putting it. And then when you give Grandmaster Grandmaster's training over the Paz Vizsla, you have this ultimate juggernaut team, and he's able to solo so many teams where first try, I was able to take down, you playing the clip, Gary? I was able to take down General Anakin Skywalker with pretty much Paz Vizsla doing all the work. You set up tank tech over on the guy. Grandmaster Yoda is basically amplifying his damage as much as we can, even though he's not a Jedi, although he kind of wanted to be. He wanted to have the Darksaber, so he was close, but not quite. And then once you get the armor and all these other things in here, he really feels like he's indestructible. Really, he can't critically hit him, and you can't take him down fast enough with all that bonus protection from the armor elite and the fact that he's getting extra stats on his unique ability Legacy of House Vizsla because you have the armor there. Really, it felt like I could take on the world with this guy. Couldn't really take out any Galactic Legends, but basically, if I could set this up, I felt like he could beat pretty much any team, like non-Galactic Legend team out there, which is pretty nuts. And it really just shows that he is a powerhouse character for this future generation of the light side Mandalorians. He just can't, he's just not, it's just a fact of the matter. He's not a Zori, a Captain Rex, the list I gave earlier on where, unfortunately, although he's cool for a tank, it's not enough to make this light side Mandalorian team even Geonosian level like competitive at the moment. We need a bit more, and that's where we're heading. But it really just goes to show what this guy is bringing to the table. What I want to talk about for the last few parts of this video while you enjoy this fun gameplay, we're going to roll some territory battle stuff. We're going to talk about his Omicron, which is territory battle specific, but oddly enough, I don't know if I can even recommend it because he was doing pretty good in territory battles in phase 4. And he didn't have the Omicron on him. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But the first thing I want to talk about is his Zetas. In case you are going to want to upgrade him, which I suspect you are, I'm assuming he's going to be needed to unlock Bo-Katan Mandalore. I don't know what the relic requirements are going to be, what Zetas are going to be necessary. I'm solely focusing on what makes him awesome. The first Zeta I would recommend, without a doubt in my mind, has to be the Legacy of House Vizsla. This is really what's incredibly important for the guy. He's able to get frenzy at the very beginning of battle if the leader slots light side Mandalorian. Not really important for what we're doing, but it's important for the future, I believe, for the Mandalorians in general. Being able to get the 2 stacks of resilient defense as well, so he gets a little bit of a taunting capability. Not as much as I would like, though, unfortunately. And on top of that, whenever he gains overheat, he's getting turn meters. So we want to make sure he's getting as many turns as possible. And on top of that, this is where you get that last stand mechanic. When he reaches 1% health, he dispels all the debuffs on himself, recovers 100% health, damage immunity, and takes the bonus turn, then is defeated, and then all light side Mandalorian allies, they recover 100% protection. And during this bonus turn, all of his cooldowns are set. He gets the plus 100% offense, and his heat and overheat stacks are set to max, basically guaranteeing you can get some pretty serious damage baked into this guy at that very last stand. Now, I got a lot of questions. What's the point of the damage immunity? What's the point of it? I'll tell you what the point of damage immunity is supposed to be and the 100% health. I noticed a few times, like when Commander Luke Skywalker takes his turn, sometimes they're all like swarming, and then he wants to get his bonus turn, but he has to wait till they start and they finish doing all their counterattacks or whatever. So he needs that damage immunity to make sure they don't kill him off counterattacks if he does AoE. Or whatever the case may be. And sometimes buff immunity can kick in, get rid of it, and almost knock him down. So the health recovery that he gets in the damage immunity is incredibly important. So that's going to be, I think, the must-have Zeta on the guy. And then, of course, if you want to go all the way, Vengeful Incineration is the second Zeta that he has in him. Yeah, he gets protection up, which, again, based off max health, it's a substantial amount of protection up he's getting. And he's getting Retribution. And he gets the extra damage depending on how many overstacks, heats of overstacks that he has on him. And then lastly, we have the Legacy of House Vizsla Territory Battle, which I don't know if I can recommend at this time. So let's take a closer look at this. So we just showed some gameplay in Territory Battles where he was able to, with the Mandalorians, nothing too special, able to get through a phase 4 wave on one of the tougher planets that was out there. And really, not that many inconveniences. The Territory Battle Omicron seems nice, but, Territory Battle Omicrons, they really have to do something massively transformative to want to apply it. If I could already get work done with the current Mandalorians, no Bo-Katan, Mandalore, none of that other stuff, I don't know if I would 100% recommend this. Actually, I'm just going to say I don't recommend this. I think you're better off putting a territory war a Grand Arena Omicron of sorts. It would have been cool if they maybe made him into a solo character, because as we saw, he's got solo potential when you set him up. Wouldn't that be crazy if his Omicrons basically gave him the effects that I was trying to give him with Watt Tambor armor, and then you can make him a solo, a variety of teams with there. I think that would have been a really cool selling point right there. Mods, so this is a snapshot of now. When you watch this a year from now, it could completely change. Right now, the things I'm liking about him, he hits very hard. When he has the overheat mechanics, when he gets that last stand bonus damage, and of course the true damage on his basic, it just screamed to me. The damage part was the most exciting thing, and he is still fairly beefy, even without the typical health protection mod you would want on a tank. So for this testing, I just threw on as much offense to throw a little bit of critical damage on him. You can argue just put more offense on so you get the most out of the true damage scenario, as much offense as possible, as well as some potency mods to make sure he can try to land the debuffs, like the expose, the stagger, the daze, the variety of other effects that he throws out of him. He doesn't have crazy offense, but as you saw, it's enough that if he keeps counterattacking and doing his thing, he can be quite a deadly force, as we saw in that super soldier format that we put out there. But I'm suspecting down the road, the developers probably intend for us to go like full health, to really lean into one, him being a tank, the bonus protection that he gets with protection up, and of course his unique ability, which supercharges his max health even more. So as it stands right now, is this a character you need to drop right now, like Zori, Captain Rex, Seer, Judah, Marin, the list goes on, of all the fantastic characters that came out this year in 2023? Definitely not. As much as I would like to say, but he is a lot of fun, and I really think he is the shining best light side Mandalorian, maybe aside from Armor. Armor is a bit more plug and play, but I think this is going to be one of the most important characters for the team. I already Relic 9 him. I had a ton of fun at Chad Vizsla, Super Soldier Vizsla. Nonetheless, everyone, that's going to wrap it up for today. Let's wait and see what the future has in store for this big guy back here. Leave your like, comment down below, and all your beautiful thoughts. And please, on the way out, make sure you subscribe so you're not missing a thing. Because around these parts, we always love to say how it's great to be in the Empire today.